Welcome to another episode of Hair Biz Radio with your host, Zakiyrah and
Mikey.
And we have a special guest on with us today. We met Danie 10 years ago?
It's been 10 years. Did you know that?
Has it?
You didn't know that, did you?
No, has it?
She doesn't know how we first met.
I don't remember the exact moment, but I know you.
Okay, we're gonna get into it. So we have Danie on the podcast today. She is a beautypreneur. She's based here in Atlanta. She is all things beauty, educates. She's a beautiful spirit. She has lovely hair. This red hair. She's a hairstylist as well. Look at her hair if you're on YouTube. I'm in love with her hair. This hair color is very pretty. But we're gonna get into everything Danie, and I hope that this episode allows you to learn some additional things in the beauty industry and make you laugh a little bit too, because she like to tell jokes.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna dive right in. Mikey, you want to talk about how we actually met Danie?
Yeah, so I didn't think you would remember this, and it's crazy that I remember it because I don't remember anything anymore. But when we first launched our business, it was in 2014. We had an event, and I think the person that set it up was Crystal Jordan. You know who Crystal Jordan?
Okay.
Crystal, I think we hired her to like do this
PR
meet and greet kind of like event at this building 444 where our office ended up being.
Mm-hmm.
And I know like I met you, I met Ming, I met like a bunch of people in the industry, like a lot of Crystal's contacts, obviously. And that's the first time we met. That was beginning of 2014. We were just getting started. And,
I also feel like I met you outside of that.
I
you guys have met
outside of that.
Yeah.
But that's so funny, and you're so specific,
right?
And I'm still like,
when was that?
Because I remember that event so well, like because we haven't thrown that many events.
Yeah.
Right.
Or like things where we invited hairstylists and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's weird. We did that first one, and then we never really did. People just kind of came to us, and then we used the podcast as a platform. So this has been a great platform.
Yeah.
Right.
Get people in the chair, you know, find out more about each other and everything else. So yeah, it was just real 10 years ago. And then we've been following each other on Instagram. And then she commented on a post on the Hair Biz Radio, and I commented right back, you need to come on the podcast. We started messaging, and then boom, here we. And the crazy thing is, I feel kind of bad that we've had this platform, and you know, we've been following each other on Instagram, and I haven't invited you, which makes me realize I need to reach out to more of our contacts to get more hairstylists.
Definitely.
And especially someone that you guys can learn from, because she's
can't remember
wildly successful.
how we met.
I can't remember,
but I know we did.
It was definitely outside of.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe through someone, or maybe we was somewhere and like. Because I feel like Atlanta, you know,
it's small.
Small,
it
but
is.
yet big. So
yeah.
It could have been something that we crossed paths.
It was definitely something.
But it was definitely a long time ago.
Definitely.
I can barely remember what I ate yesterday, let alone.
No, seriously.
10 years ago.
Seriously, yes.
But I know you.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
But this is going to be a really dope episode. I'm excited, and I want to just dive right in. So let's start from the beginning. Why did you even get into the hair industry or beauty industry?
Well, I was born.
I was born in beauty.
I was born, but not actually. So I remember when I was probably about, what's the age when you're going into middle school? Maybe like 12?
Yeah, like.
12? Is that 6th grade?
Like 9.
11?
10.
9?
I'm chatting now. I don't know.
Graduated at 13 over here.
She's like 9 years old.
Well, because I thought 9th grade, you're like 14.
Right.
So
maybe
like 11.
Like 11. Okay.
Yeah.
So my mom used to do my hair, right? Like, it used to be this, sorry, Mom. It used to be like this little beehive thing. It was like her thing. And my hair was super thick. And so it was this, she used to just, I don't know if it was like a swirl or like a.
It was something.
It was something, right? And that was her thing. Like when she did my hair, because I had a relaxer. I did, all that because she had to do for management. But I just got fed up. Like, girl, I'm going into middle school. You will never have me out there with that little beret on the side. You will never have me going to middle school like that. So, back before that, like I used to get the Barbie dolls, the baby dolls, cut them bald, cut them off. Like I was just into hair and I didn't know, it was just my thing that I was doing. Mama like literally had everything. She would literally have to buy me everything. She'd be like, okay, listen, let's make sure this doll lasts at least a year or at least 6 months. Cause I was literally I'm cutting, giving them bobs and everything. But at the time I didn't know. I was just a kid. So then fast forward to we going into middle school. I'm like, this is gonna be the last time she do me like this. I am going to do my own hair. So first style I did, it took me like 4 hours. I did where it's like the French roll. I mean, it was like the French roll in the back and a bun at the top. It was connected. It had some pink curls. Girl, I
want to see pictures.
Listen, she probably has them. Moms keep all the things. But, and so when I did that, I was like, she never doing my hair again. Right. And then from there, literally it just started building. So I think I went to school and it was like, people were like, oh, your hair is cute. And I'm like, really?
I did.
And so now I just started, like, I was so obsessed. Like every probably week I was like doing a different style until that rolled into probably my 8th grade year. I started doing braids. So I feel like braids was the easiest. You not licensed, you can still do the styles, whatever. So my style was a pin curl ponytail. So I would do all these singles and pull it up in a pin curl, and I would like sew the pin curls together. Like I really should have brought pictures for it. It was literally my style for like, I did it on myself. It took me probably like 9 hours. It took me so long.
Oh,
but when I went to school, everybody was like, oh my God. So I had everybody wearing that style. All the way up until, now we're transitioning to high school. That was like the thing. So then I just started braiding. Like I just started having more clients.
So you were charging during.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I mean, it wasn't nothing. I think my first pin curl ponytail was probably like $40.
It's something, because imagine being in middle school and you're charging somebody to do hair and you're 11, 12 years old.
No, I wasn't.
That was a lot of money.
No, it was. I was living. I want to go back.
Yeah. Like when stuff made sense.
No, seriously. So it was like $40. And I did hair too. So like I was doing French rolls. I was doing ponytails. But the braiding was kind of like what I got known for. It was different. A lot of my friends were like super supportive. Like, oh, I want to do this. And when I say I had everybody doing it, like everybody doing it. And then that entered like kind of like doing more like singles. I was doing bobs. It got so crazy that I was doing the principal's hair. I was doing the ISS teacher hair. I was doing the assistant principal, some of the teachers. So listen, when I was in school, when I wasn't doing my best, I was still set up because I'm like, oh, if I have to go to ISS, it's fine. That's my
just do hair.
That's my client. So even when I got in trouble,
I was
never actually in trouble. So it was definitely a crazy experience.
So let me ask you this. Being in middle school or high school, when it comes to confidence, did you lack any confidence around you doing other people's hair and maybe even the parents allowing you to do hair for your peers? Or being this young individual and getting adult clients? Was there any time where you felt kind of insecure about that?
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I feel like, I'm so young at the time.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you lack confidence because of experiences like that make you not confident, right? Like
I agree.
So being a kid, it's like I didn't know. I just did hair and I was like, let me just duplicate the same thing over and over. I can't mess up. I'm literally created it. So that's the thing. I created not the braiding, but the actual style.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm just gonna do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So I don't feel like I did.
Yeah.
I feel like like I said, I'm the only entrepreneur. Well, I haven't said it, but I'm the only entrepreneur in my family. But at the time, I didn't know that that's what it was going to be. Like, it was going to multiply to how it is now.
You were just excited.
I was just excited. And I knew since doing my baby doll's hair and everything like that, that I knew I wanted to do hair. Like, that was a thing. And my dad is a barber, but it was never, I never seen him like cut hair or anything like that. So I was just kind of told that. So, you know, it was that whole thing. Like, you know, my mom used to be like, so who's coming over today? I'm like, well, I have 3 clients.
I got 3 clients.
I have this, I have that. And I had a job. My first job was at grocery store in my hometown.
Where are you from?
So I'm from Akron, Ohio.
Okay.
So it was a grocery store. So I was not playing. I had my part-time job. I was going to school, had my part-time job, and I was doing hair.
And your grades
straight A's.
Okay,
I graduated
I know
number 10 in my class. No, I graduated number 10 in my class.
Okay.
So
yes. So then you got to high school. And what was that? Did you do any programs to get into hair school kind of while you were in high school, or what was your transition?
So yes. So I knew that early on. So my family is like big on college. Specifically my aunt, I love you. But she really pushed like college. But at the time, I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I'm in 9th grade, like no pressure. And I knew I was really making money. Like weekends, I was making, I probably remember one weekend, I literally probably made like $500.
As a high school student, that was a lot.
Right. And I was working like every weekend. I feel like I just always been a workaholic.
Yeah.
That's been a thing. When I was in, you know, when you like in 10th or 9th grade, they get to introduce you to all these programs, like vocational, like at different schools, and some of the schools are like interconnected.
Yeah.
So where they'll like take you like half day or whatever. So I went to like a meeting or whatever, and they were like, oh, we have cosmetology at another school. And it was just one of those things where the school that I was at, I really wanted to be there, and I was supposed to be graduating from there. Like that was the school, right? But then I really just started thinking like, well, if my family is going to make me go to college, I got to pick, right? Like if I wait till I graduate high school, then I'm going to have to pick. And if you think I'm about to go to hair school and college
at the same time,
absolutely, or one after another, I wasn't even about that life. So, I just really thought about it. And I was like, well, it might not be so bad. So I wind up 11th and 12th grade year, I completed my cosmetology program. Yes. So when I graduated high school, I actually had my license.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
You graduated with a cosmetology license?
So it was like, what do you graduate, like in June or whatever? Like most graduations are in like June from high school. So that summer, I took my test.
That's wild.
That is wild. That's really good.
I've been licensed since I was 18.
So did that happen? So when that happened and you were going to school, so did you get it in school, or was it an after school program, or how did that work?
So
do they have that now? Like,
they
that sounds like a good
I think
deal.
they have programs where if you're still in high school, you can take dual classes.
Correct. So it was at another school too. So I did have to go to the other school. I wound up just transferring fully to the other school.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay. So it was like an elective.
So what happens is, and it may have changed now, but 11th and 12th grade was your year. So I learned about the program in 9th grade. So you had to have specific things in place, like 9th and 10th grade.
Got it. Okay.
Like pretty much you had to be an overachiever. It's just kind of like when people do like college classes, you know, the average person not doing that. So you already like are either super involved in school, you taking all the electives, you overdoing it the first couple years so you can be laxed on the 11th and 12th grade. Yeah. So it was kind of like that because it was, if I remember, I think it was like half day. So like 11th grade, it was like half regular high school, whatever classes I need. And then the rest of the half you were doing. Okay. It was in the cosmetology. And then senior, it was kind of the same thing, but you would just get your hours because you come to school every day.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, that's really good. So by the time you graduated high school, what did you end up going to college?
I did.
Okay. For 4 years?
I did.
She like, that was a waste of my time.
It was given.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I feel the same way. I'd have wasted so much money.
Because I just feel like at the time, if I could be super transparent, I feel like I did it for family because I knew I was doing hair.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to do hair. It was a passion for me. I mean, obviously, since like a young child. Now the entrepreneur part, I guess that just kind of comes with the territory because most hairstylists are entrepreneurs.
Right.
And even when you work for a salon or commission or whatever, you're still an entrepreneur because you got to get your own work. You got to get your own clients. You got to do your own things. The only thing that would be different is like you don't have to pay for your overhead. Yeah. So I feel like you still have to have some type of entrepreneurial spirit in order to be in this field, regardless. You know, I feel like just to satisfy family, I did go to college and I went for business, But, and the people were like, oh, well, it worked out perfect. You went to, I can't give you one example
of nothing.
If you put a business book in front of me right now, I'll be like, I read about that on YouTube.
Right, exactly. so I want to talk about this because a lot of times we do things to fulfill other people's expectations or dreams of ourselves, and we don't really do what we feel at our core is what we're supposed to be doing or what's right for us at that time. So because you made a big decision to go to college for 4 years on someone else's account, did you ever have any regret as to the 4 years that you spent in school?
I don't want to say regret. I mean, the student loans is regretful.
Yeah.
That part. Okay.
Yeah.
But regret, no, because even when I was, so if y'all haven't figured out now, I'm an overachiever. So I'm going to just break down how my college situation was. So I have a son. He's about to be 20 in a couple weeks, but
not 20. Yes.
So I was a mom at the age of 20.
You look good.
Because I be minding my business.
Yes, drinking your water.
Drinking my water. But I was a mom, and then I was so I was in an accelerated program in college. So correct. So, and it's like business is like all things business, like accounting.
I got out of business because I couldn't do the accounting. I was like, I can't do this.
It was a mess.
Yeah.
But I was in an accelerated program. I had 2 jobs.
So and you were mommy.
So I was a mom. So I had a job I used to work at like a dry cleaner, and I worked there because it was like an older couple. They were super laid back. I got paid really well. Like, I mean, at the time, it was probably like, I was making like $11 an hour. They would let me do, because dry cleaners would be kind of slow, or whatever. So they would let me do my homework. And then so I was working there, and I was doing hair, and I was going to school, and I was a mom, and he was tiny. So and I did have a lot of help though. Okay. So I don't shy on my story. Like I tell people, like, I was a single mom, meaning like I was not married, right? But I was not a single mom. Like I literally had the whole village, and it was given. Which one of y'all getting him today?
I know that's
because I have to go to work.
I got something to do. Who
has something to do? I'm using all the help. Okay? Yeah. So I didn't have that struggle.
That's good though. Right. I feel like some people in your position don't always have a village.
Correct. To lean on. Correct. And the ones who do, I'll be like, and why he not over there where he's supposed to be at? Because you don't want nobody helping you with your kids. Okay, girl. Because my son be like, hey, what weekend? Because it was family, and I feel like I needed to do the things that I wanted to do, and I didn't feel like it was fair to him or me. Like for me to put it all on me, I didn't make him by myself, so I feel like the help was there. Why not take it? And then for him, he need to be around his family. Like it's just what it is.
Yeah, definitely.
So when you were first questioning whether or not college was worth it, and I'm thinking, well, because I didn't really go to college,
You didn't really go to college, or you didn't go to college?
Right, because which
classes?
Okay, right. I remember you said that. Yeah.
High school, like you're overachiever in high school. Like my teachers loved me, but I was the worst student. Like they were just like
an underachiever.
I never even read a book until a full book until maybe in my 20s. Like I couldn't sit there and read. Interesting. So like my way I learn is just completely different. So I basically, they didn't kick me out of high school. They're like, they would call my mom, you love your son. He's the most polite, nicest student, but he's also the worst.
He's the worst.
Like but I'm thinking like, okay, maybe she had a good, like that college, because I didn't really have that college experience, which I think is important for people, even though it costs like $250,000 now.
Right. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? So I was thinking maybe you had that college experience, but then you're saying you had 3 jobs, a kid, you got 43 other things going on. Did you even get that college experience?
I did not.
Not even a little.
Nope. So the thing about me with college, I never wanted to live on campus. I'm such an introvert, extrovert, if that's even a thing.
Okay, it is. Yeah.
It's like they need a separate space for introverted entrepreneurs who don't like all that small talk and networking. I'm just gonna put that out there. Anybody want to do it? But no. So because I like my own house, I like my own stuff. I had my son. Like I really wasn't into like sharing where. I don't want to share with nobody random.
Especially a bathroom, a kitchen.
And so that's my mom was like, okay, cool, because we don't have to spend that, whatever. But I did move out at an early age. I moved out at 18 because bye.
Yeah,
because I felt like I was ready to go. And that was before my son. But so I was just ready to go. Like, and even though I was out the house, I still, communicate with my family. It was never no bad, no ill will. I didn't leave because I, was some trauma or anything like that. It was just, I just felt like I was ready to go. Like, I'm an Aries, so we be ready to get straight to it. So, I don't know if that means anything. They say it do. Look, they say it do.
Guys, I don't even know what's going on over here with these two here, okay?
It means something, okay? But definitely I feel like I just always kind of had that feeling like, I'm going to always go against the grain.
Yeah.
Because in my brain, I already figured it out, and I know I'm going to be successful with what I thought I was going to do because I just am not a quitter.
I love that. I love that. So you left college, or you got out of college. Were you already in Atlanta, or were you still in Ohio?
No. So the story with that is, I'm going to keep this brief. So I was supposed to go to Clark, Atlanta. So I always wanted to move to Atlanta. Like I used to go to the Bronner Brothers show back in the day. And so I always wanted to go to Atlanta. I don't really know why. People always ask me, well, why Atlanta? I'm like, I think because it was still close to home. But then I just feel like my representation of Atlanta was like hair. Like when I used to see things about Atlanta, it was like hair. And I just felt like I was going to be too big for where I was at. I feel like if I would have stayed home, I wouldn't have had the experiences that I had. And I didn't know at the time what the experiences were going to be, but I definitely knew. I was like, nah, I'm too big. I was booked. Like, even in my hometown, I was always booked, working 14, 15. Like, I was literally working my tail off. And so I always just had a good representation of Atlanta. So I'm like, at whatever point, I'm going to move there. So I got probably like November of 2003. Okay. I had got accepted to Clark. Well, like October. So I had got accepted to Clark. And that was when I don't even know if you could still do it. Like you could start in January. Like, you know how they used to have some, like you didn't have to start in the fall. You used to start. So I was supposed to start.
After the winter break.
After the winter break, I was supposed to start. So I was like, I'm all set to go. And then I found out I was pregnant.
Oh, and that just smashed all the plans.
Right. But I said, I'll stay here because I need the help. Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I was young, 19, like, I knew I had the help and all the stuff, all the things. So I was like, I ain't gonna do that to myself. So I said, but whenever I finish college, I'm gone. And I meant that. And so, retracted that. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll stay. And so, I enrolled in college where I was at. And then I just got an accelerated program because I'm like, this is not gonna deter me. Like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So did that, committed to that, had my son, of course. And then when my son was 3, I literally graduated 2007 and I moved in 2008.
I know that's right.
And it was so funny because at the time, it's like when you come from a small town, like people only like their perception of whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I remember
it's so one track. Yeah,
right. And people don't
small.
know. So they're like, it was a lot of people that were like, oh my God, do it. Like, just do it. I remember one of my clients was like, don't try to wait. Don't you think you're going to save and it's going to be the perfect time. Just do it. And I was like, I'm just going to do it. So that's what made me just get up and go. But it was like all the negative things like, oh, you want to move to Atlanta? Well, it's this going on down here. Did you watch the news? It's and
it's happening everywhere.
I'm like, girl, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm still going. And so I was kind of laser focused. And so I did not tell my mom at first. I did save money because one thing my aunt did teach me since a young child was like, save your money, save. So I'm a credit and a save person. Yeah. Always going to have it. It doesn't matter what's going on. Like that's kind of what's instilling me. And so I saved. And then one day I just told my mom, I said, Mom, I'm moving to Atlanta. And she was like, when? She was like, no, you're not moving to Atlanta. And I said, yes, I am. And she was like, well, when you moving? And I was like, January 3rd. And so she was like, whatever. I pulled up with the U-Haul.
That is hilarious. So you came down here in 2008?
2008.
Okay.
January, I think it was the 3rd, either 3rd or the 5th of 2008.
Okay. So what were your goals within the beauty industry when you so you were transitioning from Ohio, came to Atlanta. What goals or vision did you have coming here and preparing to be in the industry, build your brand?
I just wanted to do hair.
Okay.
I just felt like the scope of which I had from in Akron, I just wanted to do more hair. Okay. I didn't have, like, I'm not one of those people that be like, so tell me what you're going to be doing in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
I don't know. I don't have no plan. I just kind of, I mean, you have aspirations, but I don't have, like, I'm not writing year 1 down and month 8. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Because when I have to change, I'm changing. I don't care what's going on.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to do hair, but on a bigger scale. Yeah. So it's like leaving one city, working 14 hours to turn around and work 17 is crazy. But I wanted to do it.
17.
So when I left, I still had clients in Ohio. So up until 2022,
you were going back and forth.
Correct, all that time.
Oh, wow.
So it started off as every 6 months. Still had clients when I went back. Then it was like, oh, you need to come back more. That went down to every 3 months because I started doing sew-ins. Yeah. That was my main thing. So my thing was when I went back home, I didn't have a lot of time. I would stay from like a Friday to a Monday, so I didn't have a lot of time. So I had to condense my services down. So with sew-ins, which is my big thing, I had to, I didn't need much. I just needed some extensions, a needle, some thread, or whatever. And then the salon I worked in, like, they had shampoo assistants and stuff like that. So I had it so jam-packed that I would literally do a sew-in 2 hours and then just roll the client out and do it. So I remember one weekend I went up there, I did like 25 sew-ins. It was crazy. I made like $4,000 that weekend. I was lit.
25 sew-ins?
I did.
In one weekend?
So you had, but she had it like, she had the, people come in. You had someone that's doing the shampoo.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of. Okay. So at that time, it was like, I did not have, so some clients got shampoo, but I did charge them. Okay. But most of the time they had to come shampooed already because it was just hold on.
Oh, boy. You guys know where we're going with this.
I know. Let's talk
about it. Oh, boy. Zakiyrah, move that mic close. I got to make sure they hear.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, Danny.
Let's talk about
it. This was back in 2000.
Yeah, this is like 2008.
She's trying to get a 2008 pass, guys.
I'm not getting a pass. This is the reality for me because, baby, I was trying to make the money.
So they would have to come shampooed already.
Correct. Okay. And so how it will work is most of my clients that I had were clients that I had when I was like
younger
or just when I lived there.
Okay. Yeah.
So they would either they had the option to shampoo their hair themselves or they had the option to get shampoo at the salon where I worked at.
Got it.
Just as long as they coordinated the time because when I came in, I was just providing sew-in services.
Got it. Okay.
Now, if there was a client that came in, I felt like the hair was not shampooed, like it just was given, who
dirty
did this? I definitely would be like, hey, well, you got to get shampoo. Like something got to transpire or I would shampoo.
Okay.
But because my schedule was so tight, like I had enough time to do a 2-hour sew-in.
Got it.
So, and maybe give or take, because I would do a natural part, which would be your natural hair out or a closure.
Okay.
So if the closure, of course, it'd take a little bit longer, but, they could provide their own hair. I had hair, but then it's like I wasn't really specific because I'm really just like
you in and out
for 2 hours. Like whatever.
I got you. So it was more like you have an option to get your hair washed, and if you felt like the service would come out better if the hair was a bit cleaner. Then
correct. Because some clients be like, because I feel like some of my clients, they know me. They like, okay, so they would ask for products. I would tell them exactly what to get. Okay. Sometimes they FaceTime me or whatever. I'm like, girl, just wash your hair. But then sometimes the salon I worked in, they were like really good and they knew I was coming. Like it was like, I was booking out like 60 days in advance for me to come because I had to make sure that when I'm not wasting my money to just come up there and pow out. Like, I came up there to be tight. And then in between that, I would visit friends or I'll tell them like, I'm going to be at the shop all week and just come up there and see me say hey. But I was still hanging out. So that's what the schedule was so crazy. I used to get in on Friday, go straight to work, grab my stuff from my aunt's house. I used to keep like a kit. I still have a kit up in my aunt's house. I had all my things, blow dryers, everything like that. So I wouldn't have to take it back and forth. Then I would go to work. I'm talking about get from the airport at 12 p.m. and be at work at 2. And I will work all night, sometimes hang out afterward, get to work at 6 a.m., work all day, hang out, go to work again. It was literally like that.
But you walked away with $4K from the weekend,
girl, because it was a lot. It was a lot. Now that I think about it, I'm like, oh, that was crazy.
That is wild.
It's so crazy. It's just like once you be in a motion, it's kind of hard to break it.
Yeah. That is true.
Until I just got tired. Like, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you're younger, you have a lot more energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just want different things. Like now, I would be like, girl,
time is worth more
now.
Come
before 4:00.
Just reschedule.
Just reschedule. I still be at work. I still do long hours, but I just prefer. For me, my schedule now is more like I would rather go to work 2 days a week and work 14 hours than come every single day.
Yeah, that's how nurses work. They do they do 12 to 14-hour shifts.
Yeah.
A few days a week.
Because I like to travel, so I use those other days to be somewhere.
In the streets.
Correct. So,
not the streets, on planes, Zakiyrah.
On the planes.
That's
and
like
then
the
in streets.
Yeah.
Okay.
To go to somewhere else and be in another street.
Yes.
Where's your favorite, the last like awesome place that you visited?
I've been so many places. So I just got back from Nashville 2 days ago. My best friend lives there. A week ago, I was in Fort Lauderdale just for like a little mini girls weekend. I don't travel as much as I used to, but I took my mom to Egypt back in October.
Nice.
We were gone for like 20 days. That was crazy.
Wow.
We took a cruise on the Nile. It was her dream trip.
Okay.
So in 2020, she sent me
mama dreams.
I know, right? In 2020, she sent me you know how the older people, they be on Facebook. Yeah. I'm like, don't send me nothing else from Facebook. She sent me a picture like, oh, this is my dream place. And I was like, oh, okay. And then we wound up going. So she loved that. It was a great experience. Now she want to go to Greece. I've already been to Greece, but I would definitely go back with her to experience that. But my favorite place, I guess I've always measured on like the most fun I had. I think and I feel like every time I say this, people are like, really? So I went to Turks and Caicos. Me and my friend.
I had a good time in Turks.
I had such a good time, but I feel like people now, maybe now because it's I went to Turks back in like, it was pre-COVID. Like,
I think it might
remember when they used to do like glitches, like with the flight
glitches? Yeah, I think I paid like $200 some dollars.
Me and my friend paid $158. Okay, but we had to go from like Friday. It was like something like Thursday to Tuesday.
Okay,
and so it was one of those things. Like you couldn't pick the date. It was whatever was available. Yeah. And so we did that. We had so much fun.
I have. So we rented a car in Turks. Don't ask me why, but I ended up. I was driving on the wrong side of the road because they drive.
They do.
It's like separate. Yeah. So we had a time. It was good. We ended up at the local club. It was like
it was so nice.
We were in there with all the locals, and it was just.
We actually wound up meeting some people who were very well connected. So we got to. I know they got that little boat out there. That little tarnished boat that's like all the way out where you can try the jet skis or whatever. Like we did all of that. We did horseback riding. We did everything like and it was like free the whole weekend. We was living. I left with whatever money I left with. I came back because we didn't have to spend nothing. So it worked out.
I know that's
the power of social media. That's how I found them. I was like, hi. Hey. Right. So definitely a good experience. But I've been to several places. I've been to Italy. I've been of course, Egypt, Greece. I mean, I can't even remember. I've been all around, all the ones, like all the Caribbean, Barbados. It's just my thing. Like, I love it.
Are you into like travel points and all that?
So before, no, because it was given whatever was cheapest. That's what I was going with because I just tried to get there.
Yeah.
But now, if I knew what I knew now.
Right.
I definitely would. I'm more into it now, but it's older now. Like, and I feel like we have more. You know, like you just have more exposure. You're like, oh, really? You can really get that many points to fly for free? So I am more aware of it now.
I've learned that from Mikey, like with the Amex points and stuff.
Yes, I just because it was really if I had to fly Spirit and it was $126 versus Delta paying $560 just to get them points, I was paying $126.
Yeah,
because I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
okay. So
just get me there.
Just get me there as long as we safe.
Right.
We safe.
Yes. Okay. So you came to Atlanta and now you've built your brand in Atlanta and you have a hair salon here.
Yeah.
Right. And then you also educate too. So talk a little bit about the transition between when you first got to Atlanta and you were still going back and forth to Ohio and how you built your clientele here and that whole process.
It was a lengthy one.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to get on here and tell y'all that I just was a straight entrepreneur. So because I had that degree, because I was going to use it, because why not?
Right.
I suffered for 4 years.
Yeah.
When I got here, I got a job through like a temp agency.
Okay.
I don't even remember what it was. I think it was like import-exporting. It had nothing to do.
Import-export.
It had nothing to do with whatever.
That doesn't sound shady. I don't know what it was. I don't know. It was import-export.
They did like the ships, and they were like bringing like.
They were bringing stuff.
They was bringing stuff. It was none of my business. I was getting paid every week.
Right.
Yes, she was.
The cartel.
Cut that part out or not. And I was like, think what you think. But yeah, so I got hired through a temp agency because I just needed money.
Yeah.
And I was working at a salon here. So the crazy part is the first salon I ever worked in, I found her on MySpace.
I know that's right.
Oh,
top 8. MySpace top 8.
I know that's probably telling my age, but whatever. So yeah, I found her on MySpace. We was communicating prior to me moving.
Okay.
So I connected with her on that. And then I'm like one of those people, like I know you're supposed to do research, but I get tired. My attention span is like, bloop. I be like, if it sound good, it sound good. We doing, and if it don't work, I'm gonna just get on. Like this really like
You're an impulsive decision maker.
But now why you gotta say it like that? I was like,
it's not a bad thing.
I'm a passionate decision maker.
Passionate. There you go.
I'm a passionate. You feel the passion, you act on it.
Yeah, I feel that.
Because I feel like impulsive. People be like, oh, you just do it this. So I do have boundaries. But with that, I just feel like I'm really just the person that's like, if it don't work out, who cares? Just move
Try it
around.
again or do
like,
something else.
My favorite saying is like, you are not a tree. Move around.
I like that. Yeah.
Move around. When people say, oh, I want to move to a different state. You are not a tree. Move around.
Yeah, that is true.
Your mental is what's keeping you wherever you at.
I need to tell my husband that one.
Like you are not
need
a
to
tree.
move around.
Seriously, flow like the wind. Okay, you are not a tree. A tree is stable. Once you plant it, it's going to pretty much stay there. But you are not a tree. So let's get the moving.
Yeah, I do want to live overseas for a little while. Maybe a short period.
Definitely a good experience. I've never done that, but I definitely say, if this country keep going how it's going.
Listen, that's a whole nother conversation.
Right. Invite me back. We can have that conversation.
Yes. But I also feel like impulsive decisions can be good sometimes. Yeah. Because sometimes we'll think ourselves out of a great opportunity because we're sitting on it for so long.
Right. Like this. I was like,
yeah,
sure, I'll come today.
Yeah.
Because if I would have thought about it, I probably would still came, but I feel like it would have made myself more nervous.
Yeah.
So I decided to, like I said, I was already in kind of conversation with a salon here. So I just got here and, she was very welcoming, helped me. I was working with her from 2008 to 2014. And then.
Can you tell us who the salon was? Are you guys still friends or no?
It's okay. You don't have to. No,
I mean,
so was it?
We're cool. I mean, we're cool. We're cordial.
Yeah.
We rekindled maybe like a couple months ago because I seen her somewhere.
Okay.
We're cool. No ill. Like everything is done. Like I don't really.
Yeah.
I'll be out of there.
So let me ask you.
So you moved to Atlanta in 2008, which is the beginning of the big economic crisis.
Yeah.
Did that affect you during that move? Because 2008, 2009 was rough.
People
was living in their cars. Like it was a really bad time, mostly for the financial sector, but still like, was that a challenge when you moved here?
Ain't people living in their cars now? It's the inflation is real.
We're
just circling back around. No, so
eggs are like $10 right now.
No, that's get me started.
They are.
But no, so yeah, so to piggyback, I got a job.
Right.
So I am a firm believer. I don't care where you at in your journey. If it come to a point where your financial crisis, you would never let entrepreneur take you under like that. Get you a job with your skills. So what if you got to go to corporate? So what if you got to get an overnight job? So what if you got to do a part-time? So what? You just should not it shouldn't be so instilled that you have to be quote unquote an entrepreneur and you have to have that specific journey where you don't have any outside financial resources just to say that for you to go under.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense.
People in 2024 need to
say it again.
Yeah. They need to
get a job.
Yeah.
And then you can always circle back. Like it's no issue. Or you can still do it together. Like it's fine, but going financially under when you know you have other skills that can be applied to another company. And I know there's a lot of like things now, like non-compete. It's like so much stuff.
Yeah.
But I would rather have I'm gonna say like a lower period, because entrepreneurship ain't always up. Mm-mm. It ain't always a straight, parallel
it's
line.
It's up, down.
It's down. So on those down
zigzags.
periods, I would rather get a job paying me $15 an hour to supplement some of that than to just be like, oh, I'm gonna quit entrepreneur altogether because I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I don't.
You got to do what you got to do sometimes.
You got to do what you got to do. And I think the mindset around it is like, ew, you're going to get a job or you're not going to be an entrepreneur no more because you got a job. Like, man, we are still an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Are you paying my bills?
Right.
Listen,
that's the part right there. Yeah.
And it was a long time. I just wasn't willing. And this is the most transparent I've ever been about it. It was a time in my entrepreneur journey that I was not willing to sacrifice my lifestyle to build my brand.
I know that's right.
So I was traveling. That's what I wanted to do. So my money that I was making money, of course. I was booked and all that. But I was putting my money into going to travel. Yeah. I wasn't putting my money back in my business. Yeah. Like, it probably would have benefited me better now. But I had the experiences, and I feel like at that time, that's what I wanted to do and what I needed to do. And so, because life outside of entrepreneurship, it be happening. Yeah. And sometimes it's to you, and sometimes you're doing it or whatever. But I had a long period of time I was not fully like getting on, I wouldn't get on here and be like, oh, every single penny. It's like I had a time where I was taking my profit and putting it into my travel because it was for my mental. Yeah. And I checked out. Yeah. But I still was working, but I checked out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because this is all I really know. Yeah. So that is a point that I always say, like, no matter the entrepreneur journey, I don't care what you're doing. It's like, it is okay. It's okay to check out. It's okay to get a job. It's okay to do other things. That does not make you less of an entrepreneur just because you're doing those things.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
1,000%.
And you got to be built for it. You got to be built for it. Yes. You do. So when you transitioned, you were working too, but also still doing hair. You just stopped going back and forth in 2022. How did you build your clientele here in Atlanta? Because you didn't know a lot of people when you came here.
I did not. So the only person I knew was the guy I was dating at the time. And I had family down here, but we never.
Oh, wait. So you were dating someone that was already in Atlanta. So that's the reason.
No. This was so funny. This is why it's so funny, because I knew that was coming. So I was already planning to move to Atlanta. Okay. Prior to meeting this guy, whatever. Okay. I met him in another place. Like, I was on vacation somewhere else. Okay. And he told me he lived in Atlanta. Okay. I was already moving. Everything was already planned out. So don't even try to do it. It just happened to work.
Don't do me.
No, but when I met him, I'm like, oh, you in Atlanta. So then it was like, oh, well, I guess it just must be meant, because I met him somewhere else. I met him in Florida. Like, it was a whole situation. Yeah. And so, but my move was already planned.
Right.
So
don't do me.
It was not because of no man. Don't do me.
So she moved here because of a guy.
Lies.
Lies. Maybe hair.
Lies. Don't let them twist that story, okay? All right. But
wait, are you still friends with him today?
I am.
Okay.
Yep, I am.
Hey, you saw it.
Whatever. He's my best friend. He's so cool.
Atlanta thanks you.
Whatever. Atlanta thanks you. But so with that, I knew him, and I had family down here, but we wasn't tight. Like, I knew they were down here, but it wasn't like, hey, cuz, I'm moving. Yeah. So, but once we got down here, we got closer. Okay. So it's pretty much on a limb. Like, I just felt, and then I had my son too, so it just felt right. Yeah. And again, I'm like, I could just always go back home. If stuff really fell flat, I can just move back home. Home is not going anywhere. And then my mother, of course, she was like shunned that I was leaving, and I left. And so she wound up moving in December 2008 because she was ready to.
To Atlanta?
Correct. Okay. So she's here. So she's been here since. Oh, nice. But at the time, she was, her kids are grown. So I have a older sister, and like her kids are grown. She kept saying she didn't want to live there no more. She want to move. And I'm like, you are not a tree. Move. Because your kids are grown. You don't have to worry about us no more. Right. Like, we're good. But then, once I moved, it's kind of like once I moved, everybody started.
They wanted to come on down.
So it was beneficial to me because with my son and everything like that. So it worked out. And again, once I moved down here, like I had a job, I had a salon that I already was ready to go work in. And then I got a job, and I worked that I worked job and hair up until 2011. Okay. And then I had an opportunity to go on a 14-day cruise leaving out of Barcelona with because I moved to a job I was like a concierge, and so I was from a condo building, and so one of the owners in there. She was really cool, really young. And she was like, my family, she was always talking about traveling. I'm like, ooh, I want to go.
Yeah.
And so that kind of started my travel journey. Okay. So she was like, we're going on a cruise, not sure if you into it. And so I had already been battling back and forth if I was ready to just take the full leap and just do hair or not. But remember, I wasn't willing to sacrifice my lifestyle for it. Because prior to traveling, I was a shopaholic. So it was that literally I used to work like 90 hours a week. It used to be so crazy with both jobs, doing hair and my other job. And be a mom or whatever.
Yeah, that's a whole nother job.
So crazy. And then when I was like, well, I'm gonna go. But with that, it's 14 days. And I was, my job was like, you can't just leave for 14 days. And so at that moment, it took me and my manager at the time, he was super cool. He understood I had been there for a while. And I was like, I think I'm gonna quit. I think this is I'm gonna take the trip. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna just figure it out. Because remember, savings. I already had savings. I had my credit was good. So I'm like, and he was like, well, anytime, you can always come back. You were such a pleasure to work with and everything like that. And I just did it. And then
I love that. It's like a theme. Your whole life has been, I feel this. I want to do this. I'm going to do it. I'm not afraid. I'm going to do it afraid, even if you were afraid. But it's if it doesn't work out, it just doesn't work out. You just
I can just go back. Or, because stuff really don't change that much. Yeah. People need to be more open about, stuff really don't change.
Yeah.
COVID, stuff has changed drastically. But in general, stuff really don't change that much. So if you ever got to go back, it's fine. Yeah. People don't like going back. It hurt egos and stuff like that. But I'll be like, hey, I'm back. Is there something available for me? Because I need to pick back up where I left off.
Yeah. What's crazy, Zakiyrah? She's literally the title of my book, Fearless Beauty.
Yeah.
I have a book called Fearless Beauty. Yeah. And literally, I'm hearing the story and how fearless you've been in the beauty, just in your life.
Yeah.
And it's just man, wow, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So the title's already been taken. So when you do your book, you're not going to be doing Fearless Beauty.
Okay. When you do your book.
I don't have to do a book because the book is about me. Okay. You had me in mind.
But literally, it's so perfect. Just, it's just such I'm sitting here thinking, I'm trying to compress everything of just how I just amazed hearing your story about how you just do this, and you just kept going. And just even from a young age.
Mm-hmm. It's very inspirational.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here looking at it and I'm like, dang, I've been kind of slacking on just doing stuff. I think too much. That's my problem. I think too much.
I feel as I have gotten older, I do overthink. And I do feel as I've gotten older, because things have changed so much since COVID that I'm kind of right now as an entrepreneur, I'm in fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
And I hate that because it's even when I'm resting, I'm still never resting.
It's an anxious feeling
because now I have team. I have just the things and I know where I want to be.
Yeah.
And again, like I said earlier, I'm an introvert, extrovert. So I need stuff where I can network without being
the center of
she wants to network without being there.
I know
I want to be on. I just feel why I know I'm not the only one. I feel like I'm it's the extrovert. I'm not an extrovert. If you drop me in the middle of a networking bit, I'm literally gonna go to the bar.
That's me. I'm an introverted extrovert. If I need to adapt in certain arenas, I can show up and be extroverted. But I love just being kind of sometimes I can feel awkward in spaces.
I'm so awkward. And so the thing about me is I got this red hair and people see me on social media talking. They're like, oh, she's just so this. And then I get there and I'm like.
And then she heads to the bar, a few tequilas. She's back.
It just depends. And I feel I guess there's not a proper way, but I never was taught how to network. I'm not really good with small talk. It gets really awkward. I don't be knowing what to say. It's oh, so how are you? And they're like, oh, I'm good. And they're like,
well, what do you do?
Well, what do you do? And they're like, oh, what is? In my mind, I'm if you do something that I do, or why can't we just why can't we just do that and let it be done?
Yeah.
We gotta be asking about kids and all this. I don't even know you like that. I don't know. So I feel that has hindered me because I don't take on a lot of opportunities because of that. Yeah. I literally be I'm gonna go. I have people around me that be no, you need to go. Then I go, I have to take somebody to feel comfortable because I'm when I get there, I'm literally not gonna say nothing. I hate that part. And then when I leave, I'm it was so many people in there. I should have. And then I see, I got friends who I can literally take them anywhere, and I
just
can
work
sit
a room
in a corner and they will work the whole room. I'm so jealous.
Yeah,
and they'll even be like, "Oh, I have my friend here. She's a hairstylist." Then when they come over here, I'm like, "Hi,
nice to meet you."
Don't be having nothing to say. She'd be like, "So tell them," and I'll be like, "Well, I'm a hairstylist." Like, it's so awkward. It's embarrassing, actually.
Not embarrassing. So when did you start your hair salon here? When did you get the salon?
So
here?
I am in a suite.
Okay.
Because again, it was one of those, I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
So for the longest, I didn't want no salon.
Okay.
Because I didn't want the overhead.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Straight up. Like, it sounded good, sounded amazing, but I'm such a control when it comes to my business, because I know what works for me.
Yeah.
I know how to make my money. I know if I want to work at 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. or in the middle of the night. Yeah. I know I have clients. Like, I know how to navigate that. So I never really wanted a salon up until about 5 years ago.
Okay.
So it was like, whatever I can get that was going to be the less work for me, where I can just control my money 100%, then I'm good. But with getting a salon, I want one now.
Okay.
And so even within my salon suite, I've recently hired a stylist. So this is my first stylist where I've had assistants, but that's different.
Yeah,
this is a stylist. She works on her own. She's great. I had to interview. I had to do all that. The times where I thought I had, potential candidates, and then they no show. I went through that process. So my thought process is instead of trying to do everything at once, right? So I already had a salon suite. I've been had that. I had it literally February 2020, and then we shut down.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I was able to get it decorated or whatever, and then I worked 1 week, and then we were out of there, and then I didn't work again until July. But the salon owners, suite owners, they were very well accommodating.
Okay.
They literally helped us out. It was so it was pleasant. So I stayed.
Okay.
And then, once the doors opened back up, everybody was back in.
I need an appointment.
It was ready. So now it's I don't work well with just a whole bunch of things, because I'm a perfectionist. So I thought, okay, so instead of trying to get a space, do a build out, do all of the things, and hire, and make sure I got the money flow, and make sure all this, let me use what I have to work my way in.
Yeah.
So I hire somebody. I feel like I start there. I see how I manage people, how I work, how they respond. And then as I do that, then if I feel confident in that, then when I open my salon, I feel more confident. It's I got a head start.
Yeah.
Instead of just getting in there trying to manage 10 people when I never manage anybody.
Yeah. I love that, because you're doing what works for you, which is going to tie into my next question, but you're not worried about what everyone else thinks about what you're doing with your business.
Yeah. I feel like it's, I guess, what is it, imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
So I do have a little bit of that.
Okay.
I do experience that more often than I would like.
Yeah.
Because even talking about my experiences, sometimes how it's been. I know I done did the thing.
Yeah.
But then when I talk about it, people are like, oh. And I'm like, girl, it ain't that big of a deal. Just everybody relax. But because it's just what I'm used to doing.
Yeah.
But I do feel like I could have, I feel like sometimes I do feel like I should be further.
Okay.
But it was that time where I wasn't willing to sacrifice. I wasn't willing to do it. So, because of that, now I'm starting my journey that possibly could have been, a while ago, but I don't even think of it as a negative thing. It's just that just wasn't the time.
Yeah.
So
everything
now,
happens in its timing for a reason when it's supposed to happen.
Yep.
But does social media have any impact on how you view your journey or yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
I ain't even gonna lie to you. So it's because I feel like people be like, oh no, social media is just la la la. Nope. It does. And if it don't directly, it's your subconscious. Everything that you view, especially when we're on it all the time, even if you on there for business, most people aren't just posting or interacting and getting off.
Right.
They scrolling. Everybody does it. You know what I'm saying? So those things that you are taking in those moments, it can affect your subconscious at the most. So yes, you might look and you think you're just scrolling, but then when you go to make a business decision, weeks or months later, you'll be like, dang, dang, I think I should be making like 10K because so-and-so posted that they make 45K and they do the same thing. So I feel like it and then you wind up doing nothing. Because that's really my thing. Like I be having so much to do that I take a nap.
Oh my God.
It's such a crazy thing. I know it makes absolutely no sense.
Listen, no, it's almost like
I'll be overstimulated.
What did my dad called it? Attention residue. It's like when you're thinking of so many different things at one time and you're trying to accomplish one thing, you start to have attention residue, and that's what forms the procrastination, which then forms you not doing it at all because you're so all over the place. Yeah.
That's something I think you can teach yourself, though.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
a discipline.
When I started reading in my 20s, I would get so excited, and then I'd buy like 4 books. And then I wouldn't read any of the books because I couldn't decide on which one to start.
Correct.
And then it comes down to business. I mean, Zakiyrah's worked with me for a decade, right? So like ideas are just flowing.
Yeah.
And what I learned is live by a to-do list and calendar. And it's like having that to-do list and getting it out of, because I can feel like what you're talking about and the ideas and getting stuff done. For me personally, you have to find what works best for you, is that to-do list for me help get my life so much organized, more organized, and just download it out of my brain.
That's what helps me too, a brain dump. Because I'll be like having a panic attack. I'll be like, oh my God, I got so much to do. I'm so overwhelmed. And then once I start writing it down, I'm like, okay, what's more priority? Get that done, then I feel a little better.
Or even like we have these, I gave the team is like these daily checklists, and you can write your stuff down. And what I've learned is write things down as micro as you can.
Yeah.
So even though it seems like, oh, well, that's just going to be quick, write it down, because when you check it off, it's like a small win for yourself.
Yeah.
And you get that small self of accomplishment. It's kind of like when you're scrolling through social media, it's kind of fun, little bit. It's the same thing, but for business.
Yeah.
Oh, that felt good. Okay, let me move to the next one. Oh, that felt good. And that's what's so fantastic about checklists.
Yeah, so I do have a checklist that I do. But I'm still gonna take a nap.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take a nap.
I'm gonna take a nap and do my checklist.
No, seriously, I'm gonna do both. No, because I feel like when it's like so most people who know me, my friends know, I'm gonna take a nap. I don't care what is going on. I'm going to bed. Okay, so that's that.
Was you the one in the club sitting on the couch falling
asleep? I'm the hype, but I'm ready to turn up whenever. Like, I need this little nap in the Uber on the way to the next spot. But then when we get there, I'm gonna be ready.
Good.
So just let me take a nap. But I feel like when I take a nap, I can, like, when I wake back up, like I can do a to-do list, right?
Yeah.
And then I take a nap, it literally like regenerates me. So when I wake up, I'm like, okay, now let's start from square one, you know, or whatever I need to do.
Yeah.
I think my overall right now is just being able to get, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I know what I've done this far, and yes, I have grown.
Yeah.
But like going to that next step, I get overwhelmed with like, because it's like when you never done it before. So I think that's why before I was always like, oh, I don't want no overhead. I don't want no, I don't want to manage nobody, because I'm like, I could just control myself.
Yeah.
So now I'm like having to do all these other things and just not knowing how. And, you can read the books, you can watch the YouTubes, you can hear somebody else's story, and it's very inspiring.
Yeah.
But I feel like for me, I'm like, I don't resonate with stuff unless you literally can tell me step by step and if it's the same thing, if that makes sense. So if we have the same journey, if you was opening a restaurant and I was opening a salon, I would love to see your inspiration, because you're like, oh, I got my restaurant open in 6 months and it's gonna hire people. It could be some of the same things, but unless you tell me you open a salon, it be going in one ear out the other. Like, and I don't retain it. Yeah. Like, I don't retain it. So then when I sit down and make my plan, I'm like, well, she went here for funding, or she did this and she went here. I'll use some, but it doesn't motivate me as heavy unless somebody tell me like, oh no, I actually had a salon and this is what I did. And I feel like a lot of times when you're getting like coaching or mentoring, they tell you the things, but they don't tell you the things.
Yeah.
Like, it's the overall. It's like step 1 through 10, but you forgot that each step had A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Right? So then you get it and you're like, oh, well, this is good. I finally got the blueprint or whatever.
Yeah.
And I know everybody's journey gonna be different.
Yeah.
But you finally get the blueprint and then you're like, where did the money come from?
Yeah.
Like, where did the money?
Brick and mortar multiple times. Right. So it's definitely
a journey.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
Yeah, enjoy the journey. There's no skipping steps.
Yeah.
There's nothing. We've been through it.
Yeah.
With all aspects. So just, I'm hearing it. I feel like that's kind of where she's getting in pretty much the same age as when I was, about the same age, getting into a lot of that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you've been through a lot already. You've learned a lot. So take that experience. And I think once you can, and I think you're obviously great at this, once you can accept things are going to go wrong somewhere.
Yeah.
Just keep going, because this one doesn't quit. You're going to be
not a quitter.
Yeah. Like you're going to be okay, because everyone, it's just, you have to go through it. There's no, you can have people tell you all day long about this, that, the other. Until you go through it. Yeah. You haven't gone through it. So it's like, that's it.
I totally understand. And I do live by that. Like, even when I educate my stylists, they're like, they want to transition. So now, like I have courses. I have a sew-in course.
Let's
I have
get
a
into
sew
that.
course.
Okay. So when did you start the courses?
So listen, I loved being transparent. So let me tell y'all what I did.
Yesterday, she,
so I feel like I've been doing hair for a while. So I'm like, oh, I want to teach. Right. So we know you can just, technically you could just teach hair. Of course you want to be through the state or whatever. But I enrolled in educator school. So I went and completed all the school.
Nice.
I went now it was like a 10-month program. So I did it last year. So I finished last August. So you have to take a test.
Certified.
Not yet.
Okay.
So, so you have to take a test.
Okay.
So I took my test. So it's a test, like you have to show up, it's
like a hands-on
test.
Test.
Like you have to sit in front of people and for state board, and you have to, pretty much teach.
Okay.
So pretty much it's just these 3 or 2 people out there, and you're supposed to pretend like you're educating a class. So it's kind of like you got to improvise, right? And I'd never done anything like that before. Now keep in mind, remember I'm an introvert and I do not like being on the spot.
Yeah.
So it's like, I like being on the spot with my family and friends because they know me. But like, if you be like, hey, tell me something, right now. And I'm like, oh gosh, like I'm such a shy, awkward person. And so, I did that because I wanted to get better at public speaking and just get better at being in front of people. Because when I was 7 years old, I literally had an issue. I used to sing in a choir, and I had my first solo, and I passed out.
Oh.
I passed out. My nose was bleeding.
Oh.
It was so traumatizing.
Oh, wow.
And I never did public speaking after that.
Oh, wow.
I was so traumatized.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, let me go in school, so hopefully they'll help me. So and when I say I never did public speaking after that, like if anybody asked me to do any events, any panels, anything, it was no.
Like, no.
It was automatic no. I don't care who was gonna be there. You could be like, I'm gonna hand you $1 million, and I'm gonna be like, nope, not gonna do it.
Me.
I know, right?
I'll be there.
I was so scared because I was, and I didn't realize how much that still was scary for me.
Yeah.
And so so I wrote in school. I'm like, that's going to help me do better. And it did. So I did grow.
Okay.
But then I have to take my test. So I went in February to take my test. I literally cried the whole test. I was so nervous. Like I was so nervous. One, because the unexpected.
Yeah.
Because, people tell you like, oh, when I went XYZ, but you still don't know stuff.
Yeah.
Like I have to see it for myself,
Mm-hmm.
like I said. And so I went, took the test, thought I was prepared, cried. When I say cry, y'all, if y'all could have been like a little fly on the wall, this was just in February too. I cried
for the in-person one.
Correct.
Okay.
I was so nervous. Like I was shaking.
Yeah.
I'm like, and there was a lot going on at that time when they was talking about the licenses. Like they were gonna like talking about the cosmetology.
Yeah, remember with Tiffany we were talking about it?
Oh.
Yeah. So it literally happened the 2 days before I was supposed to go.
Okay.
So I was over.
Even would have mattered almost at that point.
So that's the other thing. I was like, I went to school, I did all of the things, and now I'm not even gonna need it like once a month. So I was so emotional over that. Then I went there and I'm like, they're just staring at you like, so they don't say nothing. Like when I say they don't say nothing. It's so you supposed because you supposed so you supposed to know exactly what you're doing. Cried. Did not pass. Fail. So I have to reschedule my test. Okay. And I felt like at that time I needed like a solid 3 months where I can super focus on that.
Yeah.
And I have not had the time. So I was saying I'm gonna do it. I'm going to reschedule it for like October.
Okay.
That should give me enough time because now I know kind of what to expect when I get there. Because I was so nervous. Like I'm like, I go to this place. I'm like, she's like, hey, how you doing? And then that was it. And then she read down some rules and pretty much was like, have at it. And I'm like, ooh. Okay.
Yeah, that's not easy.
I'm
like, okay, I think I would actually rather it be a class here because I can interact,
people,
right?
At least.
But it was no interact. I had to be the student and the educator. I had to do both. I was like, this is crazy. I've never been through anything like this.
Oh my God.
So I'm not certified yet, but it is definitely on my to-do list.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm probably going to take a nap first.
You got the education.
Have you ever taken, do you know what the CEO nap is?
What is
Do you drink coffee?
Sometimes.
So the CEO nap, I used to do this sometimes, is you drink some coffee and then you take a nap, because I used to love napping too. I try not to nap as much because I try to sleep at night.
Yeah.
And you drink some coffee, you take a nap, and when you wake up, you're like, lit.
I never heard of that.
Yeah, it's called the CEO nap. It's real popular with CEOs, I guess, because they want you sometimes, like for me, my brain.
Yeah.
Like I'm more conscious of it now. Like my brain would just kind of overheat because I'm trying to do too much, trying to think too much. And my head would start getting hot. I'm like, oh my God, I take a nap. I literally could just lie on the floor here and fall asleep.
No, seriously.
Like so easy.
I can't do coffee. I don't like coffee.
She likes tea.
I'm a tea drinker.
Okay.
I'm a tea drinker. I do drink coffee because I have my favorite drink from Starbucks, and because I just won't be paying $9 anymore. Every single time. I mean, I'd still go, but I found out how to actually make it, so I just be making it at home.
What's your favorite drink?
So it's a white chocolate mocha with almond milk and caramel drizzle stirred.
Oh my God.
And you can do it hot or cold. It's so good.
I have drank iced coffee before.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just always been a tea drinker.
Yeah, I drink tea. So like I'm a tea drinker. So I like green, like all the teas.
Yeah,
like
me too.
all the teas. I definitely would do that over, but I really don't. It's either that or water.
Yeah. That's me too.
Or wine.
Yeah.
Or wine.
Tequila.
A good glass.
I'm gonna have me some wine.
Yeah.
Right before I take my nap and when I wake up as well.
You're right.
Oh, wow.
I just went.
Okay. So do you do in-person classes or online classes?
Yes.
So right now it is just virtual. So I
Okay.
pretty much for stylists, it's the Stylist Corner on Instagram and TikTok. And so I do a lot of, the course is already pre-recorded. And then I do a lot of like monthly webinars inside of the course. So pretty much if you purchase the course, you get more of like me, like one-on-one and things like that. And I just kind of started that in January.
Okay.
So it's kind of like I had an idea and then I've switched it since then because it just wasn't conducive for me for output. Cause it's like, once you say, hey, you can get a one-on-one with me, now here come 400 people that want to get a one-on-one. And it just, I don't have it. Yeah. And just mentally, it's like everybody got a different story. Everybody got a different journey. So I had to take that part out because I'm like, ooh, I ain't gonna be able to do that.
Yeah.
And then, so now it's pretty much, now I feel better just having the course. You can purchase it.
It's evergreen. You can just do it whenever.
And then it runs by itself or whatever. And I just put content towards it for them to purchase it. And then inside I do more of like, the one, not one-on-one, but like a group webinar with people who are serious.
Okay.
So I feel like if you buy the course, then you're serious. Because if I still get free content, but it's like, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. So I want to
make sure that we on the same path or whatever.
So is it one course and there's many courses inside of that one course, or is it different courses?
So right now I have a natural part sew-in course.
Okay.
And then once you purchase that, you have access to my silk press course.
Okay.
So you have to purchase the one because I did that because when I'm educating, I know there's this like the rules, right? The things that you educate, like shampooing your client.
Yeah.
But it's not really that. I'm like more of like a business bestie. Like I like to help people build their business, right? I like people to make money. Like that's what I'm into. So I like to educate from experience. I'm not like, if you give me a book and say, hey, recite all this and then educate the class, I'm probably not going to do good. I'm probably going to forget half the stuff and I'm going to start talking about whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not, and I feel like I didn't do a lot of things because of that. Because I feel like, don't put me in a box. Like, just let me talk.
Yeah.
Like, I just like to talk and just ask me questions. I can kind of work that way. So I did silk pressing and sew-ins because that's where I make my money. So that's where I like to teach. So it's like, I want people who want that same journey. I made six figures or whatever. And so I can confidently educate from that space.
Yeah.
Now I did other service. I do hair color. I still do relaxers. Don't fight me. Still do them.
It's a lot of stylists that are still doing relaxers.
Yeah, because it's the old, if you've been doing hair 20 years, 15 years or more.
You still gonna do a good relaxer. You just have to know how to do the relaxer. You have
to know how to do it. I know that's a whole nother conversation. But so I still do all the other things, but if I wanted to if you laid out like the percentage of what I'd made most of my money off of sew-ins and silk pressing, and
those
a lot
are
of people, those are my money.
Signature.
Yeah, and then and since 2020, I started to add like micro links, tape-ins, but that's just started being popular along our culture anyway.
Yeah.
So I do have 2 more courses coming out for those to people, because I feel like once you create a blueprint, right, it's pretty much the same thing. Like if you can't get a client to pay, you know, if you can't maximize your client to get them to pay $500, you definitely can't make no client pay $1,200. It's like, absolutely, so you got to start somewhere. Like if you're not confident enough to charge what you really worth and what you feel like you're owed, not owed meaning like, oh, you got to pay me, but more like the skill level, like, whatever. If you can't brand yourself and market yourself to do that, what is you gonna do with a microlink that service that costs $1,200? You can't market that. It don't work the other way. You don't market for 12 and then get them to pay less. You market for less and get them to pay high. So I feel like I kind of started that's kind of like where I educate. So that's the one that I have right now that's active. You can purchase, like a stylist can purchase it. And I'm able to be confident and passionate when I'm teaching.
I like that. Yeah. So where can people find the courses?
So if you follow me on IG, it's the.stylist.corner. That is, you can go in there, a lot of free content. It's the stylistcorneracademy.com. That's where all my courses or any ebooks or anything that I have. Yeah. If you want to book with me, but it's just so much things. I'm like,
you do products too?
So
or not?
So I used to do, I did do COVID. I had actual shampoo, conditioner, all that, but that wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
I did it. It was fun. The process was crazy. It was my thing. As we know, I'm a passion. So it'd be the money because you be excited, but then once, you know, the hype stopped and you still have to do the things, I wasn't excited there. Yeah. I was like, I'm just going to let it phase out. So right now it's just hair extensions, like clip-ins, ponytails. I'm back to kind of selling bundles because my clients who come in and get sew-ins, they have to purchase the hair from me. So I create packages or whatever. So,
you require.
Correct. Yeah, because I feel like, one, it's so saturated nowadays. Never know what you're gonna get. There are some amazing brands out there, hair brands, and then there's not. Yeah. And so people buy based off their budget, which is cool. But then when you bring it to me, I don't know what I'm getting. So I feel like I can't give you the best. Yeah. And when clients say, somebody say, who did your last sew-in? They don't be like, the hair was trash. They'll be like, but that last sew-in was trash. It's like, no, the sew-in was fine. It was the hair you bought.
Get it right, Miss Mama.
Right. So I feel like it just it made me more confident to know, like, if you follow me and you see one of my clients with layers or whatever, that you can get exactly what you're going to get.
Right. Yeah. Especially because you're using the same product.
I'm using the same product.
I actually love that because you're right. If you're bringing in other people's hair, it's like you never know.
You never know.
My work is banking on this. It's like I want to be positioned to be the best sew-in hairstylist. So it's like if I'm providing hair for you, I know what my work is going to come out like.
Correct. And then and not good or bad. It's like things are just different. So it's like like another company's 3 bundles might not be the same as my 3 bundles. Yeah. We do a lot of texture hair. So like texture straight, that's like my number one thing because I like hair that mimic natural hair. Yeah. Not natural meaning curly. Right. But natural meaning like the press. So I'm a silk press. So I'm known for silk presses. So I like when sew-ins mimic that look, even if you add length or thickness. So that's kind of like what we sell the most.
Like a yaki straight?
Like a kinky straight, like simple, like kinky close. Straight, where it swells, like it swells like a silk press. Like if you got your hair pressed or curled, it look like that. When you go in the humidity, it react because it helps with maintaining the hair. Clients go home, you trying to flat iron your leave out to keep matching the body wave, and now you have heat damage. So if you have hair that kind of works with that, it won't be done like when you got it, but you can put it in a ponytail, it looks natural. Like that's the ultimate goal.
I love that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I do. I really
like
love
if
that.
you're not going to get a closure or frontal.
Yeah.
And then just that's.
So I don't do closures anymore. So I used to.
Okay.
Listen, I want that to go.
Yeah.
I feel like closures and wigs.
On who do it because sometimes they don't. Yeah.
A lot. Like, so it's just, I just feel like I like it, but it's just so abundance now. Like everybody. So like when I tell people, I used to do closures. I get it. But I feel like the work that it took for me to do the closure, the maintenance, if you sew it down or if you glue it, it just be so much maintenance. I don't need to see my client every 7 days because you lift in and do it. I don't need to do it. It's so much work. I don't think people really understand how much work it is and how expensive it is to maintain a closure or a frontal or a wig. I'm talking about like when you are, not the glueless ones. We're talking about ones that you have to like melt the lace. It's so much maintenance. So you wind up paying more.
Yeah.
I wasn't even going to ask her about a frontal because she said not about closures, and I'm like, thinking 4x4.
I do not.
Okay.
No, she does not. If she doesn't want to do a closure,
right.
I don't do
she wouldn't be able to nap. Are you kidding?
No, so the thing with the closures is like, I feel like I never glued mine down. I always sewed them.
Okay.
So because I didn't like the glue process or whatever, because it's just, if somebody go to the gym, that's going to be out of there.
Off. Yeah.
So I used to sew them down, and I felt like it wouldn't last as long because tightening it, I'm actually damaging the hair to do it. So I just quit doing it. So now I just do natural part sew-ins. You could do, a lot of leave out. You can do however the client feels comfortable.
Yeah.
For versatility. And then I offer things like if you want to relax your leave out, if you want to do a smoothing treatment, if you want to do a keratin, I offer those so it can help with manageability.
Okay. I love that. So is there any piece of advice that you would give someone who is maybe just maybe just getting into the industry, or maybe they want to get into the beauty industry and they haven't already, or just some sort of encouragement or a piece of advice that you would share?
I just feel like nowadays everything is microwave. So it's like you see things most times before you decide, before someone decide, and it don't matter what age, before you decide you want to do hair, you've seen something on social media.
Yeah.
Like that it's accessible. Like even if you never thought about doing hair and you did your cousin's hair one time, you see something on social media like, oh, I want to do hair. Yeah. It's usually like that. So I feel like with that, it comes like everything is just microwave. So-and-so got their license, and now they a salon owner. So-and-so got their license, now they got a whole brand and they sold out and they got all this warehouse and bundles, and it's just all the things, right? In reality, that is not reality for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so I feel like people skip the most important part, and then it doesn't hold longevity. So you so busy trying to be a boss by owning your own salon, even a suite. I mean, like, why are you out of hair school getting a suite with weekly booth rent? That is the most craziest thing to me.
Yeah.
Unless you have somebody supplying like a startup business, like you might have somebody doing that, but even still, what you gonna do? You got to make sure you got the clients.
Yeah.
That is a no-go. I feel like back in the day, I never was an assistant or anything, but I did work at JCPenney's, and I did, they had the commission. I think it was like hourly.
They had a hair salon.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they had a commission hourly split. So if I didn't make any money doing hair, I still got paid.
Okay. Yeah.
So I love that. Starting out, it took the pressure off of the stress of it and make you not want to do it because you done jumped in head first. And now head first is fine in some instances.
Yeah.
But you done jumped in so far head first, letting social media lead your goals. And now it's like, what you doing now? Like you can't 3 years in, a year in, now you tired.
Yeah.
You ain't even did nothing for real. Like you just got your feet wet. So I feel like people need to just bring it back, relax. Everybody relax. Know that wherever you started, that doesn't mean that's the only way that you have to go. You can literally pivot at any point and be okay with that. No matter what you're doing, you can build a whole business and be like, you know what? Nope, I don't want to do that no more, and still pivot and be absolutely fine. It's a part of the entrepreneur journey. Definitely get licensed, because I'm tired of seeing that. Because you pop in on Instagram and then you don't have no licenses.
It's wild. It's nasty work.
Nasty work. And I don't care how watered down they try to make the cosmetology license, it is needed. And working in a salon prior to, not necessarily assistant, but working in a salon culture first before you go venturing off by yourself is also needed.
Yeah.
It does a lot of character building. It helps you with pricing. It helps you with confidence. It just helps you with things that you just can't get if you just go from hair school to a suite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that's true.
And use social media. Like people be, I don't really like the post, but you scrolling. I always tell people, I say, you're not posting your businesses.
Dang, get out my business.
So you can't really, you don't have to have no personal page off. You don't want people in your business, your kids or whatever. That's cool. But your business needs to be on. It's literally a free marketing tool. People who don't, I don't care if you get one like every single time you post. You need to be on social media. Yeah. Every business pick a platform. You can't do them all. If you want to pick based off of what you feel. So some people prefer YouTube.
Yeah.
They like to talk. They like long form. Everybody can't balance, more than one. So that's fine. But pick one, stick to it, be consistent.
Yeah. That's true. I have a love-hate relationship with social media.
That's me too.
I feel like that's why I said hey,
business I love and then personal stuff. Like you see my social, like I barely post like, travel and like other stuff.
I gotta do better.
Like,
I'm mixed. It's like I have spurts. Like I feel like, okay, I'm ready. Got the content laid out. I'm gonna post on my personal. I'm gonna post on my business. I'm ready. I'll do it for about 30 days, and then maybe 2 weeks. Then I'll be like, do you still do hair, girl? Yes. Just what's the little meme that's going around now? I'm tired of posting the content. Come get your hair done and book the appointment. I've been doing hair for 20 years. If you don't know by now, baby, I don't know what else I could provide you. Like, I do hair.
That is hilarious. So to sum up this whole conversation, I feel like it was really about blooming and operating outside of the box, operating outside of people's perception of who you are. Yeah. And one thing I love about your story is the never give up part, because it was given, you gonna do whatever, and if it don't work out, we gonna figure it out.
Because I ain't no quitter. I'm gonna cry through it. I'm gonna nap through it.
Yes.
I'm gonna disassociate through it. Yeah. I'm gonna check out through it. But I know that this is a journey that was given to me. It didn't just like I said, I didn't have it's not like I was watching my family be entrepreneurs and here I am. Like this is literally, it's only me. So I was put here for some reason.
Yeah.
And yes, I've done a lot, but I feel like I still have a lot to go. And I feel like as you get older, things change, perceptions change, the things that you want change. I did turn 40 this year, so it's given. What they say? I think I seen a meme the other day that say the average millionaire is 42. So I'm right
you almost there.
I'm at the beginning.
Yeah,
that's what they say.
I have 2 more questions. The next one is, because you talked about how you were the only entrepreneur in your family. How did your family feel about you being the only entrepreneur? And then what were some of the things that they were able to take from your experiences?
So I think at first it was like, girl, this is crazy. Because they wanted me to go to college. Yeah. So when and I think my mom always knew.
Okay.
She would give me a fuss every day, but I think my mom always knew. But like the rest of my family was like, you're going to go to college, you're going to get a job. Because hair is just not it's cool to do it on the side, but nobody's making a living off that, like for real.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and so I feel like at first it was like, whatever, she's going to do it. It was always, she's going to do what she wants to do anyway. And I'm like, correct. Because I felt it. Like I felt that this was it. So with that, it was doubt until I made the money. Yeah. And I made the lifestyle and I was able to live. Because I always tell people there's a difference between using your entrepreneurship as a side hustle and using your entrepreneurship journey to eat.
Yeah.
It's 2 different hustles. And yes, you can interchange them both, but somebody who has a stable income through a company or whatever and then just doing it on the side, if you don't make no money, you may be disappointed, but you're still going to be okay.
Right.
But when that's all you have to pay your bill, and let's say you have a lifestyle, you have kids, you have family, and that's all you have, the hustle is way, way, way deeper and is way different. So yes, I'm taking a client at 11 p.m. because I need to make rent this week.
Yeah.
Like versus you like, if I don't get a client, I want to do it, but I get paid on Friday. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely
I don't feel like it.
It's definitely a thing. So I think now everybody just used to it. Like they know I'm going to travel. They know I'm going to be off work. They just know already. I don't get no questions now because it's been over 20 years.
Yeah. So I love that. And then last question, is there anything that we did not cover that you want to talk about?
No, I just like I'm always giving advice. So I just love just being in a space where I can inspire people because I feel like for me, I'm like, I have a strong personality. For me to be an introvert is so crazy. But when I talk, I'm super passionate. I feel like some people can kind of take that in sometimes a wrong way. Like if I'm educating or mentoring, people could take it in the wrong way. Like, oh, she's so abrasive. But if be for me, it'd be like all or nothing. What we doing? What we doing? I feel like once you come to a point where you're in your journey where you gotta make the decision. Like, are we doing it or not? And if you're not, that's cool, but I just won't be the one for you because I'm literally black or white. That gray area that people be swimming in, I be checking out. You got about 5 minutes. Because I feel like if it don't work out, who cares? Move on, move around, move. It's fine. It's fine. But people be so gung-ho like, oh, if I do this, then I can't do this. Yes, you can. It's not going nowhere.
Yeah.
Literally, It's the thing. So I just feel like, I operate from passion and I love that for me. But I do realize, like, even educating, like, sometimes you have to meet people where they're at.
Yeah.
I already be like, girl, I can see your potential. I already know where I'm looking at your work. I'm looking at your, the way you carry yourself. Like, I see where you can be. I'm all here and excited. And they like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm like, no, you're doing this. So I learned how to just meet people where they at and not try to put them in different place based off what I see. Because, people sometimes don't know until they have to feel it. It has to be their journey. They, have to feel their way through. So,
but I think that can be helpful sometimes when you're pushing someone to be the best person that you know they could be. Yeah. Sometimes they just need that little push.
But she also respects that and understands that if people aren't going to be all for it, if she's trying to teach them, she's not going to waste her time.
Absolutely.
And that's something that took me a little bit of time to learn because I love helping people as well. And educating and teaching people. And I'm just like, really quick, if I feel like this is a waste of my time, we're not meeting again. Like,
we're not.
Like, I have so little time.
I am do you understand? My checkout is
strong.
Okay. Because I feel like I'm really good at reading people. So I already know when you come to me if you for real or not. Like, I really can pick up on that, and I'll be like, okay. Because I know when I'm for real about something, I press the go. We going. I ain't even thought about nothing. I ain't even thought about what tomorrow, but I know today I'm pressing go. And so I know what that feels like. I know what that passion is. Even if you're excited at first and then you fall back, but you know the excitement when you're doing something different and new and you're ready.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you like, I'll be like, girl, call me when you're ready.
Talk to me
later. Talk to me when you're ready. Because I'm not about to pour in that. It take a lot to like mentor people or just even clients too. Like, you want healthy hair, but I'm telling you, you got to come every 2 weeks and then you come every 7 months. I'm not about to keep, girl, when you come in, don't ask me no more advice about no hair. Just sit here, get your hair done. And we're going to just enjoy this time here. And when you're ready for your actual journey, let me know. Like, I'm all down, but I just can't keep pouring into things like that when people aren't ready. Like, I want people to be, when they come to me, I'm the educator or mentor or hairstylist that I want you to come to me when you're ready.
Yeah. Not
to
on the
go
fence.
To the next. Now, because if you're on the fence, baby, you're going to be by yourself.
Nice.
I'm getting out of there.
As they should.
I'm getting out of there.
Okay, so tell everybody where they can find you at, how they get in contact with you.
So my main page is _Danifed on Instagram. I am not on TikTok. Well, that page is on TikTok, but my main page is _Danifed. That's DANIFIED. You can book to get your hair done by following us on the Press Room Salon. That is on all platforms. And then if you are a hairstylist, you watching this and you ready to get to work, you can follow me on the Stylist Corner. That's the.stylist.corner on IG and TikTok as well.
Cool. And we will add her information to the show notes. This has been a great interview.
I love it.
Of all.
My first podcast.
I've been inspired. And yes, I'm glad you had your first podcast with us.
It's like y'all kind of broke my little podcast virginity.
Yes.
Now you're ready for the...
Now it's like, call me.
Right.
I'm ready.
But then now this is kind of like an icebreaker too. When she goes back to take her test...
I know. I'm going to be ready.
She's out there talking and stuff. She's going to show up. She's got the confidence, knows what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love spaces where I can just be transparent because I don't be having, because I'll be like, this is what it is.
Right.
Because I can fake it. I don't have it. I ain't even about to lie to you.
It gets tiring.
It's a lie. Like, oh my God, it was roses. I'm like, girl, yesterday I was supposed to do X, Y, Z, and guess what I did? I took a nap.
It's the nap for me. It's the nap.
I'm going to take me a nap.
Yes. Okay, so make sure y'all check out Hair Biz Radio. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment. Oh, sorry. I thought you...
We just had a panic. Put Zakiyrah in panic.
Thanks for watching the podcast. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment, download the podcast, watch us on YouTube, wherever you can find us, and check us out next time. Thank you so much to our guest. She's in Atlanta, so make sure you go get Danifed.
Yes.
Yes. So thanks y'all for joining us, and we'll be back soon.
Later.
Thank you for having me.